Hi, and welcome to the Commander Companion YouTube channel. My name is Anthony, and today we're going to go over my Koma deck that I have built. So, with a 7-mana commander, the first thing you want to think about with it is how in the hell am I going to get it out fast and keep it out? And what can I abuse with it? So, the first category that we have for cards is ramping Koma out. So we have Talisman of Curiosity, Incubation Druid, Gyre Engineer, Karametra's Acolyte, Growing Lights of Ithilmok, Soul Ring, Burgeoning, and Priestess of Titania. All cards that ramp out Koma extremely fast. Then we have our regular cheap but effective ramp. We have the elves, birds, all 1 mana, rampy 1. We have Fertile Ground. We have Wild Growth, Utopia Sprawl for diversifying that into a couple 1 mana and 2 mana ramp spells. The usual Arcane Signet, Simic Signet, and we have 3 visits, Farseek, Rampant Growth, and Cura's Follower for the 2-drop slot. That's just nice. Cura's Follower helps out really well when you can untap a Nykthos or a Ithilmok Cradle of the Sun, Ancient Tomb, anything that'll net you more mana. We have a testing card in here, Strixhaven Stadium. With being able to put out so many Koma's coils and any number of mana dorks, you can just pop through for those 10 counters and take out the problematic player at the table if necessary. And our last piece of ramp is Nylea Keen-Eyed. Not only is it good for the reduction in cost for Koma and all your mana dorks and any of the other creatures in the deck, but also it's good card advantage if you're in a pinch. You never know if someone's just going to eliminate the rest of your card advantage, board wipe. Nylea tends to stay out and continue to gain you value. Next section is just straight card advantage draw. So you got Garruk's Pack Leader. Whenever a Koma's Coil enters, draw a card, it says pretty much. Mr. Kimura, just because you feed the fish or don't feed the fish, either way, you're getting something out of it. Return of the Wild Speaker, overrun effect when necessary, but otherwise, draw 6 cards for 5 mana instant speed, sounds very nice. Orin Frostfang, because Death Touch and card draw is always a good combination for your attackers. No one wants to block a 3/3 token with Death Touch. Then if they do, I mean, you're just taking everything out. Sylvan Library, because green Sylvan Library. Edric Spymaster of Trust. Good evasion piece. It keeps people from really wanting to swing at you because they want to get the card advantage off of it. Also, it gets you card draw. Circle of Verity, it does double work. So if anyone taps down a mana dork or any ability that taps down creatures that's not attacking, you're going to draw a card. Also, whenever you tap something down with Koma, draw a card. Shamanic Revelation, you're going to be having a bunch of creatures out, whether it's mana dorks or whether it's your Koma's Coils. Sometimes you just empty your hand out using Burgeoning or a 3-4 mana dorks, and you have to refill your hand up. Even if this nets you 3 cards for 5 mana, it's still not bad. It does work, and we have ways to recur it. Eternal Witness for recursion. Not necessarily card draw, but can recur card draw if necessary. And Windfall to again refill your hand when necessary. And it's also good disruption. Next, once you have Koma out and you've refilled up your hand, you need ways to keep Koma on the battlefield. Just because it has Indestructible, the ability, and control elements on it, doesn't mean it's going to stay out. I've had it exiled a number of times. So you have basic counterspell, Disdainful Stroke for the board wipes, Sublime Epiphany. I found this actually pretty interesting because you're able to counter an ability, counter a spell, return a non-land permanent, create a token, copy. So if you have a way to make Koma not legendary, which there's plenty, you can make another Koma, and you get to draw a card off of it and replace itself. Whirlwind Denial for the times where someone puts a bunch of abilities on the stack and you just need to take it all down. Arcane Denial. In a pinch, making someone else draw 2 cards in exchange for making sure your Koma stays out for another round of turns at the table is great. You know, Sylvan Safekeeper, once you have him out and you can keep him, sacrificing a land is nothing to keep him out. Guardian Augmenter, new card, but great. Pumps him up to an 8/8, so he's a 3-shot. And also protects him with Hexproof. Boots, because Boots. And Hasty Coma's fun. And Heroic Intervention. It's just a damn good card in green. No reason not to run it if you have the card slot for it. Then we have 4 cards that will get rid of threats when necessary. So more often than not, my meta has at least one problematic commander like everyone's does, or just a Sheryl Dread that comes out and you need to get rid of it permanently. Reality Shift, Oversimplify, Curse of the Swine, and Whelming Wave. While Whelming Wave doesn't get rid of it permanently, it does bounce it to the hand and give someone else an opportunity to counter it, or it just gets rid of it for a turn cycle when necessary. Curse of the Swine, X, exile X creatures. A 2/2 bores nothing compared to an Elish Nornout. Oversimplify is the new board wipe from the Commander 2021. Great exile and blue-green. That's the only board wipe exile besides the X spells. So far, haven't really had an opportunity to test it, but it seems like it would do its work. And Reality Shift there, the one I didn't go over, just targeted exile. If they manifest the top, you take a chance, but it's more often than not going to be better. It's essentially the blue Chaos Warp. So this category is just utility for Koma. So I have a soft spot for copy abilities. So Vesuvian Doppelganger, Phantasmal Image, Clever Impersonator, Glasspool Mimic, and Phyrexian Metamorph all do the same thing, essentially. Vesuvian Doppelganger is an expensive card now, but it does do some work with other copy abilities in here. If you make Koma non-legendary, you can just copy him next time you get an upkeep to make another Koma's Coil. Phantasmal Image is always nice to get any of those ETBs, like, I don't know, a Dockside coming out. Clever Impersonator, if someone has a nice little Planeswalker or something, or an enchantment, anything, you get it. Glasspool Mimic, sometimes you just need a second mana dork or a land. And Phyrexian Metamorph, it's just good utility. There's never not going to be a time where you can think of something to use for it. And with all those, we have other ones that you could copy or just good utility in Koma on its own. Spawning Kraken's a new one from M21. Whenever a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent you control deals damage to a player, create a 9/9 Kraken creature token. So it enables itself if you can't get Koma online or someone is hated out of the game. Also, if you do have Koma out, it's just going to be a finisher after a turn of attacking with it because you just have an army of 9/9s as well as your 3/3s. Archetype of Imagination, because what's better than 3/3 Serpents than flying 3/3 Serpents? Sphinx of the Second Sun to get an extra trigger, an untap, and an extra draw. And Serpent of Yawning Depths to make all of your Koma's Coils unblockable. And Koma himself. Actually, the rest of the deck. And it should be noted that Sphinx of the Second Sun, it's expensive, but with all the ramp, most of these cards in here are going to be expensive with 6 mana and 8 mana. You ramp up to 7 or 8 usually on turn 3 with this deck. Turn 4 is a really good chance unless you have a really bad hand. And turn 5 and on, you're going to definitely be able to cast Koma and something else. So the next category is going to be ways to abuse Koma. So I have a number of tutors here. Not only are they good for the rest of the deck to just function and get what you need, but they function as a way to get any of the next few cards out of your deck and ready to go. So you have Spark Double, Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, Sakashima the Imposter, Helm of the Host, Adrix, and Nev. So I opted out of doing the Doubling Season, Parallel Lives, Primal Vigor route because you can't tutor for those in blue and green. And it's just easier to have duplicates that you can tutor out instead of taking up a tutor spot that could potentially be used for early game for a mana dork or late game for a finisher. Or if you need to tutor out your Serpent of the Yawning Depths to get through an army of token blockers, you now have a way to get it out. That being said, if you get any of these online along with Koma within a turn of casting him, there's going to be very minimal that a player can do to actually eliminate you from the game. You now can make 2 Koma's Coils per turn, or more depending, and you can now tap down all their resources. If you manage to get a turn 4 of two Komas, or forbid 3 Komas, you won the game. There's no coming back from that. You can now sacrifice 3 Coils a turn and take them off of a color, and if they're a monocolor deck, they're already struggling, or they're going to win the game because they're going super fast also. If they're going to win the game, you just tap down their utility, or tap down a bunch of lands so they still can't actually win the game. So the tutors that we have here, we have Time of Need, Legendary Creature. There's others in here, obviously with Annihilate Keen-Eyed, but the main targets are any of the Sakashimas or Adrix and Nev. Ecological Appreciation's a new tutor that came out of Strixhaven. Search your library or graveyard for up to 4 creature cards with different names, and each have a mana value of X or less, and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of them, shuffle the chosen cards in your library, put the rest in the battlefield. Then you exile Ecological Appreciation. So, first when I saw it, I just thought, great, it's a good tutor because you grab Spark Double, Sakashima, Adrix, and Nev. No matter what, you're getting 2 abilities to make multiple Koma's Coils. But then I thought about it more. That's also graveyard recursion when necessary, because you have a number of other tutors in the deck. So if all of a sudden you have all 4 of those in your graveyard from milling or something, you now can get them back. Shared Summons, grab 2 of any creature out of your deck. Uncage the Menagerie. You grab, usually you're going to cast this for 6 mana to grab all 4 of your targets right here. But you also, it's a versatile card. You can cast it on turn 3 or 4 if you're missing some mana dorks. Grab Priest of Titania and Incubation Druid or anything else. Combo out some elves so that way you can actually ramp out Koma when you need to. Worldly Tutor. It's just a green staple in general, but you can use it early on if you're missing a mana dork, or you can use it late to grab like a Sphinx of the Second Sun or a doubling effect. Summoning a Summoner's Pact, because there is the chance that you can just go and grab a Serpent of the Yawning Depths and win the game without having to worry about that upkeep cost. Also, Summoner's Pact is just good. You grab a creature out in the next turn, you don't always need the mana. Court of Calling, it's a very fun card to use. You can surprise someone out of nowhere after they tapped out, or you can just use it on your turn again to grab like a Serpent of the Yawning Depths or an Archetype of Imagination, so that way you can just swing in for the win. No one really sees it coming. The last one I have here for this category is Double Major. It's another way to make a copy of Koma, albeit it's only a token, much like what Helm of the Host does. And it's not tutorable out of the deck, but it also allows you to copy any of your Sakashimas or Spark Double or Adrix and Nev, anything, and it becomes non-legendary. So you could have 2 Sphinx of the Second Suns if necessary, 2. That's only 2 mana, so it's really efficient. Hasn't really been tested yet, but it seems like it's going to be a pretty decent card. So that is everything for the actual meat and potatoes of the deck. It's very dedicated to ramp and getting him out as fast as humanly possible. A turn 5 Koma is much, much less scary than a turn 3 Koma. So what we have for our mana base is, to start off, Ancient Tomb, just a good magic card in general, but also having that 2 mana to go into a Soul Ring, to go into 2 Signets on turn 1 is fantastic. Christmas land, but fantastic. We have our multiple color lands, so Yavimaya Coast, Breeding Pool, Temple of Mystery. It's one of the only 2 tap lands in the deck, but the Scry effect is very nice. Flooded Grove, Bark Channel Pathway, and then you have Exotic Orchard, the new one from Strixhaven, Vine Glimmer Snarl, Rejuvenating Springs, Course Command Tower, and the only proxy at the moment, because I'm waiting to pick this up out of the mail, is Mana Confluence. So the other tap land is also Rimewood Falls. It has the 2 types for grabbing, Island Forest. So your 3 visits, your Farseek can actually grab this from the deck, and a Farseek puts in tapped anyways, so why not grab a dual? And if you're going to grab something that comes in untapped with 3 visits, you go for Breeding Pool. You have 2 choices, 2 different cards anyway. So next up we have Massive Mana Producer, which Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. You're putting a bunch of mana dorks out, and the majority of your cards have multiple pips in their colors. You're probably going to have at least 4 or 5 devotion by the time you have Koma out. And at that point, if you activate that and a Karametra's Acolyte, you're going to generate enough mana to probably come close to winning the game at that point. Command Tower, because I hate casting Koma for more than 7 already. Mosswort Bridge, 1 turn around the table and you can activate this. Strip Mine gets rid of it, but are they going to strip mine a Mosswort Bridge, or are they going to strip mine your Nykthos? Field of the Dead, because we have so many different named lands, there's no reason not to run a 2/2 Zombie Producer. That's another target. Alternate win condition. We have enough different land grabbers, I guess. And then Mystic Sanctuary, we don't have as many islands as I'd like to run for it, but it does offer an option for recursion for any number of our draw effects, our targeted removal, our board wipes, in a pinch if you want to try and get another Koma, double major. Its utility is just in there enough. It makes for 3 tap lands. It's really not that bad. I'd like to have a full arsenal of snowlands, but I don't, so I have 1 snow-covered island, and then we have 2, 4, 5 other islands. And rounding out the rest of the deck is our basic forests at 2, 4, 6, 7. So this is the entire Koma deck. I've had a lot of success with it. It's a beast at the table. It's a threat as soon as it comes to it. As soon as people realize how fast you're ramping, you will be a target. But if you can manage to stay in the game, it's not going to let you down. There's a lot of budget options you could probably take out too. The main focus of it is you want to ramp out Koma, and you want to ramp it out fast. And the sad truth is that most of the fast ramp, Mana Crypt, even Priest of Titania at this point, is getting expensive. But if you just run the basic mana dorks, and if you have the budget for birds, any of your 1-cost enchantments, 2-cost enchantments, things that'll let you get them out by turn 4, you'll probably be pretty fine. The rest of the deck can just be fleshed out with good draw effects and ways to protect him. You don't need multiple Komas to win the game. It's just a fun, flashy effect that I like to throw in here. And it kind of gives you pseudo-protection and the fact that they have to choose between one or the other Koma to exile unless they have board wipe exiles, or the whole table gangs up against you, which will probably happen. So I appreciate you all coming to watch this video. If you have any suggestions for the deck, or if you have your own Koma list, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to check them out. If there's anything that you completely disagree with or you don't like about the deck, let me know too. That is everything, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, week, and hope to talk to you guys again.